Fáilte Rashka, How to Gael. This is a podcast brought to you by Fáilte Ireland.
Louise, Thot and Sarah, well and truly ling ag buinte seo, and I'm dying to get away gidi átaigin in éireann.
Darren, I'm right there with you. I actually keep coming back to that feeling of, taking a short break and just tugging sus.
Oh my God, I know much in go bhfuil tú sair, the shoulders drop, you take in that big deep breath and you just think, Carcalor, I'm a sairnish.
Shinna Rod, do you know what it is for me? It's like the moment you arrive wherever you're going, you drop the bags, you take that initial little wander around and you're like, oh, it's on fuish of shin. I've landed. I'm on a sus.
John, I'm feeling it straight away. I'm a little bit earlier than you. As soon as I hit the road, I'm blaring the Ceolar radio to the Fanoga Hisagum. I'm heading West Bader, toward Aig and Wild Atlantic Way. The sea, the cliffs, the swims. If you're feeling brave, it just wakes you up.
Well, ein team latex to is hain gur bralum ir hinna tira. I love it. But on Sarah Shaw, I'm kind of feeling something more, I don't know, Rodaigan Suv nach Lorna Tira. I'm thinking the hidden heartlands. Nice little spa break, waking up, cushow and agdolig or coffee, agus Rodaigan quiche the das machine.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? In Ireland, you get to choose your own pace. One day you can go full adventure. The next day you can slow it all down. Níl an deferert.
Exactly, dear. In Shinna Rod, there's no delays in the airport. There's no long travel days. Tá sé dasti and blee. You just go and you can enjoy your break from the very start.
Yeah, those moments really stick with you afterwards. You feel really recharged, a little bit lighter, like you're reconnected with yourself again. The cup is full. Shinna Rod is tachti.
Sinead, and so whether you are chasing that Atlantic fin of an air or maybe you want to take a sus in the hidden heartlands, whatever you do this summer, tug sus the chain.
So what are you waiting for? Din plan dud hir a jaar inish ag discoverireland.ie. Díomhag's fáilte rómhghaí How to Gael. Lumsa Darren.
Agus lumsa Louise.
Well, by God Almighty, we made it back from London in one piece. Just
like the skin of our teeth. Well, ain't shanochel than the skin of your teeth. Whatever it is.
Girl, I don't know. I'm still stressed.
As close as it comes
anyway. And I'm still stressed.
So, can we inish and scale?
Okay, tell the story from the start, from the top.
Okay, well, from the top was that Gael agaibh on beside na hair in London for having us. We had a beautiful night in Ina. If you show all na going, I don't know if you're allowed to curse in an embassy, but by God,
we did.
We leaned in and we went for it. And actually, if you answer pod, and do you know what? It was one of those balmy London nights. You couldn't have written it like
it was
incredible.
It was giving Sinead O'Connor and Shane McGowan haunted that, and they described that beautiful balmy night. Yeah, it was a rainy night in Soho. It was all happening.
It was one of those nights, right? So Hewlin Ramach on the embassage, and we were just like out in the middle of Belgravia with these beautiful buildings.
Yeah.
We were wearing like our little frocks from the show and it was like balmy warm, and we were bitten by the bug of London. We were like the dríoch were fake yasanish, and we just, by God, we didn't leave anything. We didn't leave anything.
Yeah, bhí an sport. Well, we got our little picture leis an dá Ghlac going our Ghlac agus tá sé done going. Have we got them 3 years now?
I know, agus
2 or 3 years anyway.
I know.
And then it was like, they unveiled their matching tattoos, lads. That's old news.
It's old news, yeah. And so many people said to me this week, including my mother, who goes, and wouldn't a woman like yourself with a national profile and have more respect than to be cupping her breast and putting up a nude photograph?
We should get them out more.
Mom, aren't you lucky I was cupping it?
Yeah, there you go. We should be getting them out more. Sarah fihe. There you go. It's the summer of the boob. Lover girl summer, boob summer.
Yeah, Sarah in the breast. Someone actually wrote it. Jesus, someone wrote under it saying Colleen a boob or something. Siobhan, so we have a few we have a bit of
well, will you hang on a minute now? This is Louise's ADHD brain into overdrive. You were just about to start the story as to how we nearly didn't make the flight.
Okay, well, so this is
sorry now to bring her back now.
Yeah, go let's get co-raggers, you'll have to wait. So Iad Ahina, we actually were in bed by Man Liha. We were in the lab by midnight. We were very respectful.
Yeah, we were shagged.
We had a long all day, and we knew we were going to.
We were cranky with each other.
And we were cranky with each other. We'd had a little few fights, but it's only because Darren wore a shit outfit on the plane, and that's her problem.
Fair. I did have a shit. I panicked because I was only going to wear this green dress. Actually, I was going to wear this green dress all weekend, and then Louise threw in a spanner of the works late Friday night that she was wearing jeans, and I was like, well, I have to wear jeans then.
And then what really set her off is the Canny Misha broke Anua, and she was jealous.
And I look, guys, I had the pub matching again.
But all is right in the world because she now has new shoes. But it did throw us for.
It's amazing. Caddy Pyre broke Anua with it, huh?
Dear, you're a new woman, but you were no.
I was cranky.
Yeah, she was there in the console. And usually it's me. It's usually Louise de Cancel.
Usually it is. And in fairness, it was so good because on Law League, Louise is like, I say, look, yeah, sorry about being cranky. And she's like, you were cranky. But I was probably cranky too, wasn't it? It was just her default. In fairness, I was being cranky. You weren't being cranky, but I was being cranky.
Yeah,
so that's
but
fair
I forgive her now. And
Very
thank God,
true.
she's in the new brogues and she's never looked as well.
Yeah.
So the next day came and we had to wake up anyway, and that was the end of the crankiness. We put it behind us, and we were kind of biting a bit in the morning.
We were.
But like anything,
fine. Yeah, we were grand. Yeah.
We settled ourselves.
We
with
settled
a big
ourselves.
Glinna, more Fianna,
and we had a great day then.
We had a great day.
Sunshine. And then anyway, as happens, they were hustling to go like a man, like, because that's what we did. It was so hot. Honestly, you couldn't. And
No,
we had
you
our
couldn't.
so my the mother éis to leis an episode some other how to be chic. We mer Trish raw Hannah that it's really chic to go to the airport with just one overnight carry-on bag, one outfit. And we were like, perfect. That's the London plan. And we bring the big heavy bag around. Little did we know, Gersha, truckle came in London or Law or Fad Day Saring. So we were lugging around big heavy fucking bags and the whole lot. Agus in chéad eile.
We were a goal. So we just abandoned ship. We were going to do a bit of shopping in Pimlico.
Well, you got a very bougie blouse.
I did. I got a lovely Cynthia Rowley and I was thrilled. And actually, there was Fendi jeans. There was gorgeous bits or fall in Pimlico if you're like around the Belgravia, Chelsea area. But you know what I fell in love with was a Zimmerman Guna. We went in actually to Zimmerman on Sloane Road and I was like, $3,000, couldn't afford. Anyway, we reversed
couldn't
back
afford.
out.
No, it was mortifying. We were like we'll go on, we'll have a look at this dress just to see like how much people actually. It was beautiful, but it was kind of like we knew looking through the shop window, this is a dress for the other type of, not like the upper echelons, Hummerstach, and we had a look and we were like, and they're bhreá tú going to dinner for they and me chart. Like you're like, I shouldn't be in the shop. Next thing we open up the Guna to see what it is. The fucking tits of the mannequins.
The Guna was Aaron mannequin.
Yeah, and it started falling the whole lot. Anyway, we were mortified coming out of the place. Anyway, I want to skip a few because I'm going to make this story short because we could go on all day. We end up getting very wine drunk. We had a bottle of orange wine. We had a bottle of rosé
wine. We had a bottle of normal wine. The whole shebang. We didn't discriminate, and we had oysters and everything.
And we all know better women.
And we were having
coat,
all
no
of
knickers. We were having a ball. We were really getting into it.
Like by the end of the supper, we were like moving to London. I was texting Declan.
Yes.
Declan was like, it's amazing what a good day of weather could do. I was like, Declan, I'd say don't bother paying next month's rent. We're off.
We were
immigrating.
Game over.
But anyway,
next thing we know,
we had to get a taxi to the airport.
It was Shaychlug and my flight was leaving at 8 and we were in
nothing tube.
Yeah, we're in Chelsea and the fucking
we're in Battersea and Point Shop.
Oh sorry, Battersea. So Tresnager hit and we're like, oh my god, we have to be out in Stansted Airport in like my flight is departing in 2 hours. It's now 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And like, Mastha and Kermachgot or London, it is an absolute trek out to Stansted.
Yeah. And then,
two fucking Aegis on the side of the road, langers drunk. My mother texted me and was like, Barda Heshin have went Instagram, and I said, what do you mean? She's like,
Agus near win to a
no, near win. I called. It was clearly a joke. It was clearly a joke. We were talking about Clare and Limerick the next. Clare and Cork the next year or something.
I think your mom was being polite using that as the reason to delete it. I had one eye rolling one way and I the other. I was like, it was just.
Guys, we're keeping it real.
We're keeping it real. But we had we checked Tastalun and sorry,
what we did by the way was we put up an Instagram story and we implied that Clare people were cunts.
Yeah.
Totally unprovoked.
Where's the lie?
But look,
I'm joking.
No, we love you. We love you. Up that banner, boy.
Up the banner. But anyway, so there were taxi agus near Hána sé Fógo. We were cancelled on twice.
Yeah,
and
we were
like,
and like Josh.
I can point to show we're like cutting it tight. We've an hour and 40 to get to the airport. Doireann has literally an hour and 40 until her gate closes.
Yeah, no, it's
we
insane.
get to the airport in an hour and 38. She's 2 minutes to run through security.
So we actually land at the airport at 19:33.
Yeah.
My gate closed at 19:30 and we met a gettle to Ryanair. Notorious cunts.
Yeah.
Like, whatever meant to Clare people, that's kind of
Liscum Hunnis.
Yeah.
Hunnis the deal.
Thank God I'm running. Ronna would have been proud of me.
Yeah.
We got in
Dog
to the airport and we scooted underneath all of the barriers and they were like, excuse me, and we were like, we have to run, you've already missed your flight, and we were like, what's that? And so anyway, sorry, I'm getting heated now.
We are there in Ray and I couldn't keep up with her because the tax you pay for the new brogues is that I had 2 whopper blisters on the heel, so I was like,
I have 2
go
blisters
yourself.
now,
You go there.
You go there.
Because we miss I get it a while ago Shannon, right? So I had a bit of time.
Yeah.
She
was an hour after me
with the banner.
Listen, I'm this is typical Ryanair. I land at the gate then at 19:40 and I'm like, because another day you'd get there and they'd be like, absolutely you're not getting on the flight. Nobody had even fucking boarded. And then they push everybody on the flight. As soon as I sit down in the seat, conked.
Oh my God.
mouth open.
Passed out, I'd say.
Passed out. And I wake up and they're saying, is the seatbelt sign is now on because it's beginning our descent into Dublin Airport.
Amazing.
So anyway, on I land, grand, no bother. Like it was great. Taxi home. I was in, it was perfect. It was perfect.
I know.
But I totally conked. Like.
I know. Misha actually, I was really kind of on the buzz of being our measc, so I was like,
you little Louise having a ball.
I was having a ball. I had the AirPods in. I was like, well, I ordered another glass of wine on the plane. So I did. And I was like, isteach that I was like crying to songs on Spotify. And I was like, and then anyway, we technic fanacht or in Shannon.
Hánig?
Yeah, Hánig sé. Habán sé mach. I know. Vi Shannon.
No, sorry. The best boy.
Agus, yeah, I know.
Sorry. Honest to God, I don't know how.
Yeah. So Hánig sé mach anyway, and he was like, fanacht, and he's like, Louise, you're fucking scuttered out there.
Yeah,
scuttered.
Scuttered.
And I was there being like, put on this song. Like, roaring and bawling. But anyway, so who's the goaler and Dadach Rish, and I'm, look, an oven mark.
Such a good girl.
Sarah landed. So Sarah Bultelin was more legit.
Sarah Bultelin.
Tá.
Ep na seachta. Oh, sorry. Tá co-raggers going. Rudbu co-raggers. Go on, Tony.
Okay, so now Churmer Kesh Irvsha ar na story an tacht scate Marialan le leiscéil is massa tá fighte go bhreá for the cancelling.
Okay, go on.
Because during, you know, as we know, is Colleen Moore.
We're gonna put a pin in the debate agus fanga duka Shiva rash because Shiva is Queen canceller.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so these are the worst excuses people have been given when they've been cancelled on. Siobhan says, in quotes, they didn't have petrol, eye roll. This is 10 years ago before the crisis.
Oh my God, shock. No, get a grip.
Yeah.
Bin, in the bin.
Ciara,
Friend or lover in the bin.
Dúir Ciara, bhí chuid brú isce lag ní léon míú le seo ach an rád é go raibh an duine seo ag ggéar kit a ghlacha sa rág sí an tacht bhín brú isce rólag. Come on.
In the bin, sorry. Like these people have no shame. Come on, at least come up with a good excuse. Be inventive.
We've all washed ourselves in a dribble of water before. Sarah says, a lad I was due to go on a date with told me, Bualadh mé leat, muna bhfuil ein rotheller siúlagam. That's actually just mean. That's
horrible. Oh my God, all of these people are terrible people.
Anonymous says, before we officially broke up, I wanted to have a proper conversation with my boyfriend about where things were headed. I offered to meet up one day to maybe talk about things and fix it. He said he couldn't because...
No, come on. No, tell me.
He had to play the saxophone for his school's production of West Side Story. I ended it immediately.
He's gay.
I ended it immediately.
Oh.
Although man on the sax, good at blowing and fingering.
I actually said it was because of the musical thing. I said that he might be gay. I retract that comment. Yeah, a man on sax. Look, Joey the Lips. You know,
fingers
Joey the Lips. I don't know. Look,
it's like playing the uilleann pipes.
Yeah.
You can do it all.
You can do it all, baby. You know? I don't know what to say about that. To be continued, well, it will be what I'll say.
Agus Lana was right, because there is a continuation. Because okay, these are comments regarding Darren's rant about planning a hurricane. Okay, so there's a few Tormy Loider here. But
okay, here we go.
Emma's been in touch. Emma wasn't on board with it, and she said, Insta, I would regret going out with this controlling woman.
Yeah, sorry Emma, I wouldn't fucking invite you.
Now someone responded to Emma saying,
go on.
If you can't keep your word, you're a failing human.
Snaps.
Now, Anonymous. Dorothy Ella, spoken like a true extrovert. Give introverts a break, Darren. It lacks imagination to say someone's lazy.
No, I do fully understand give introverts a break. Just don't make the plan. Don't tell. I've been caught in situations where I'll like buy tickets. Yeah, I bought tickets for friends to go to gigs, and then they're like, "We'll be like the day before." Oh, I'm actually not feeling it. Fuck off! I spent €60 to buy this fucking ticket, and like now I'm left high and dry, scrambling, trying to find. No, bad form. Totally get but just know what your limits are, and then be like, just don't make the plans in the first place. That's so fair.
Or revolute the cost of the ticket.
Snore. What about my cost of the ticket? Because I can't go. I'm gonna have to go by myself. Do you know what I mean?
Fair play.
It's
Ella. No, Anna, girl, if there's something you're passionate about, Ella,
it's going out.
It's coming out. She's really, really letting this one out. These days, going to the plans is self-care.
Going to 100%. We're in a loneliness epidemic. Get up off your hole.
Yeah, right. Okay, right. Come on, August George Emily, and this is the TikTok comments. Anxiety is fair or not? Because sometimes you can't prevent it.
I understand an anxiety flare up, totally get it, but
Case by case.
Case by case, and sorry,
Branch
still doesn't make an excuse for being lazy.
And in amantí úsáideann daoine éimar leis. You always have that.
100%. Anyway, tá míad Anna excited because tá í Anna speisialta going in Taithlan seo. Someone who I have been following on Instagram, and to be honest, he's famous worldwide, so it's a massive thing for us. Go to Treis Teachta Seach go the headquarters how to Gael.
Sinné an tálinn tá sé ar chamchuairt timp na Héireann, so
timp an down. Gigaháin néiring, but bhí sé tá sé sa riochtaithe agus ar fud na hórpa, fud na Astráile, and seo chuing inis, David the Medium. Gael, we're very excited because we have our first Australian guest ever, and also I've been a massive fan of yours. David the Medium. I don't know what your surname is, David.
Well, no one knows. That's the thing. I'm kind of the Medium. I'm literally thinking about changing my surname to The Medium.
Okay,
might as well.
Name change. Yeah. Is that like Prince? You're
like Madonna. You just
need
like Cher.
David. Yeah.
David. Just David.
David. You'd be doing very well now to monopolise the name David. But anyway,
well, it's an honour to be here. Thank you so much for having me on as a guest. And this is also my first Irish podcast.
Oh yeah.
So we're doing a lovely crossover.
Yeah. And do you know what? I'll give you another first because they come in threes. It's our first boozy podcast.
Woo!
So David, as we'd say Astráil, sláinte, it means good health.
Slain.
Slánta.
Slánta.
Yes, exactly.
I love that.
Very good.
Cheers.
It suits you. Yeah. So tell us about landing to Ireland and your gig last night, and maybe explain exactly to the listeners what you do.
Yeah, so for those who don't know already, I am a psychic medium, which means that I have the ability to communicate with those that have crossed over. And I'm also a psychic, so I can predict future timelines and events.
Wow.
But this is something I've been doing, I say full-time, inverted commas, because it's not a job. I semi-retired since 30. That's what I tell everyone. But I've been doing this for nearly a decade now, and very fortunate to build like a real good prominence in Australia, which is obviously where I come from. You can probably hear it in the how you going kind of accent.
It's a sexy accent, though. It's a sexy accent.
Oh, you reckon? I find the Irish accent sexy.
Well, here you go now. Yeah,
have you ever been given out to in an Australian accent?
No.
I had an Australian boss, and I will say, scary accent to be given out to in.
Really?
Yeah, say like something serious. They're like, why did you do that?
Oh, why'd you do that, mate?
Yeah, you'd be a bit like...
Okay.
It's a bit like,
we're all getting PTSD from
Louise's trauma is coming out. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, but I actually grew up as a skeptic. I had a background in criminal law, was my last proper job. So I was a paralegal for the federal government in Australia doing organised crime and counter-terrorism. And I didn't discover my gift until I was 24 years old, and I'm nearly 40 now. So I never saw spirits at the end of the bed. I wasn't raised religious. I didn't have a view of the afterlife. And it was actually when I was 24, another medium who I went to for kind of shits and giggles. My grandfather had crossed over, so I was like, I'll see what she says. And she said to me, you realise you can do this? And I was like, well, obviously not. And long story short, she ran a mentoring class. I joined that and sort of learnt the ability and found out I could connect very easily, very naturally, and a lot of fun with it. But I still worked in corporate for 6 years, and that was like my party trick on the side. I used to have the reputation of getting drunk and reading people on the dance floor at 2 a.m. at a nightclub in Melbourne.
Sorry, I'm obsessed with it.
Kindred spirits. I think the difference is, I'd say, like, you have the gift, Jerry, to be like, now let me read you. But I think...
Sorry, I've never said that to somebody. Louise did have a party trick. I've never said that to someone. Louise did have a party trick for a while. I shit you not, David.
Yeah.
She would hold someone's hand and say, intuitive, what kind of tree they were.
It went down a treat that no pun
Everyone was
intended
an
there.
oak.
Everybody was an oak.
No,
yeah, I mean,
there's a few spicy hawthorns in Ireland, David, let me tell you.
There's
plenty of thorny characters.
Yeah, I love it.
And but when you tell someone genuinely that you have a feeling about them, it's amazing how different people can react, isn't it? Because some people, like you said, you were a cynic for years. There are so many cynics out there.
And that's it. It's like, I believe every single person can actually do what I do. We're all souls having a human experience right now. We're not humans having a spiritual experience. Like, we're already connecting naturally with who we are. But especially those of us that grew up in the Western world, like, paranormal and supernatural are the key words that are used for mediumship and spirituality. Like, it's not part of our culture necessarily. And, if you see it in movies or TV shows, it's always portrayed in a negative light. And we're just not taught to understand energy. And, even science and spirituality, people think that they're polar opposites. But even science understands that every living thing is energy, frequency and vibration. And I say to everyone, well, our memories, our soul, everything that makes us us. is energy. So if the physical body expires, which inevitably it all will, what happens to us? Because science even understands that we can't cease to exist. The energy simply changes form. And everyone is a natural modem to be able to connect and bring forward a signal, like especially women. I mean, you've all got gut feelings. You're all very intuitive. That's part of it. Like we're all just reacting and having a physical response to energy. So the more that I connected with the gift, it just evolved because it was already a natural part of who we all are.
So I think that's so true, and I agree with all of that. Can you take us back to your very early days? Like, who were the women in your life? What was your mother like? What kind of a childhood did you have growing up?
Yeah, that's a great question because I was raised by strong women. Even now, like all my friends are really capable, independent, strong women, but I was basically raised by my mum and my maternal grandmother. They were, again, very intuitive women. Didn't necessarily, my grandmother used to do tarot, but not like professionally.
Yeah. Go on, what was her name?
June.
Go on, June.
Yeah, June was like my second mum, and I actually dedicated my English and Irish tour to her because she was from Liverpool.
Oh, gorgeous.
And her father was actually Irish. So
that was going to be my next question. There's such a strong Irish connection, Liverpool. June what?
Her maiden name was McGrath.
Jesus.
Yeah, she may have been Irish.
Yeah, very good.
And I saw on your Instagram story today, did you say your birthday is St. Patrick's Day?
I know.
Come on. You're coming home.
I need to be advertising that more when I'm in Ireland.
You do. As if you need any help. You sold out your show in 4 minutes.
I was very fortunate.
He's one of the McGraths.
I know, he's one of the McGraths from down the road.
No, I'll claim it. My ancestry is 30% Irish when I did the DNA test.
So was June McGrath a bit of a pagan queen?
Well, I mean, she was still very English at the same time because she was born just outside of Liverpool but came to Australia during the war.
Okay.
And then her and her family moved back to Ireland, to England for a tiny bit before they immigrated properly to Australia. But yeah, I mean, she was always very connected. And I think in her later life, she kind of actually became a little bit more religious.
Wow.
So even when she crossed over, we had I was going to say pagan priest, wasn't a pagan priest, an Anglican priest do the last rites and things like that for her.
Nice,
but she was just, I mean, like being raised by really strong, cool women. And, all my friends are, all the women in my family are, all my bosses when I was in corporate were all really cool, strong women. So
fantastic.
Very fortunate.
Yeah.
What about, so you've discovered that you had this gift at 24. Was that scary? And what did it look like as well?
Well, it was never scary. I think there was that natural curiosity because I was always wanting to learn more anyway. And when I discovered that, oh my gosh, spirit does hang around and we can communicate and connect with it, I mean, that sort of blew my mind wide open. And I think there was that natural curiosity just to explore it and sort of see where it went. Like all of us, we grow up in society being taught that life has to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have the 9 to 5. You've got to work this. You've got to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But it's a very sort of hard thing, hard being the sort of operative word to be like, okay, I'm working in corporate, I'm studying, but I'm also now communicating with the deceased. How does that look in my life? Because again, society's told me that that's weird and supernatural.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's not supernatural. It's actually just supernatural. Because we all do it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because in Ireland I feel like characters like that are really accepted, but in Australia, what does that look like socially? Like, was that a fucking really weird thing to come out with, or were you kind of like, we have a few characters like that, we'd be like, they're a bit mad, but they're eccentric, we love it, it's great.
Yeah, no, Australia, I mean, even still now, it's still very conservative around it, but it's a very strong theme of the West. Like, as a gay man, coming out when I was gay in the early 2000s, like whether people accept homosexuality or not, they understand what it is.
Yeah.
And either way, I don't care what their opinion is of it, but you tell someone you're a medium, even now, you can go one of 20 ways. It's sort of like they think you're a fraud. They think it's fascinating. They're freaked out by it. They're skeptical. They love it. You just never know. But I think I appreciate skepticism because I was a skeptic myself, and it just essentially comes down to the lack of experience, understanding, or education. Like, we're not exposed to it, and people have their own ideas about it, but I say to everyone, you don't have to believe in what I do, just listen to what I say and make up your own opinions and mindsets around it. If I'm telling you something that no one alive knows, well, who told me?
Yeah.
And it just comes down to a lack of exposure.
Yeah. Isn't there like, you need some amount of confidence though to believe, like, what was it that happened to you that made you understand that actually this is it, I can do this? Because I feel like, someone could call your bluff if you were like, oh, I could tell you what kind of tree you are, like that's a party trick, but what was the thing that happened to you? What was that eureka moment?
The very first reading I ever did was in my mentoring class when this medium invited me to her class. And it was very casual. Like it was in the Melbourne suburbs on a Wednesday night around her couch. And the very first spirit I connected with, because she said in the class, she says, because there was only about 7 or 8 of us, and she said, just get up, stand in front of the class. You can close your eyes, but whatever you see, whatever you feel the need to say, whatever you feel, just say it. And I'm a short man, and I remember standing in front of the class and I'm like, oh, here we go. Like nothing's going to happen. And I just remember my whole body just sort of switched. Like it was like this wave came over me and I suddenly felt like I was really tall. And my heart was really sore and I had all these things. And essentially what I did, I actually brought forward her ex-husband who died at 39 from a heart attack, and he was 6'5".
Wow.
And she started crying. And she was like, he never comes forward in class. And I was like, okay, there's something to this. But then I didn't give it necessarily the recognition or credence that it deserved, because again, I kind of saw it as like, oh, how fun. Like I can do this.
So explain, brought forward, you embodied him, did you?
I embodied him, yeah. I could see, hear and feel him essentially, and took on his energy. And yeah, did mentoring for 2 years, but then I started reading like friends, people I was comfortable with but didn't know their whole story.
Yeah.
And then I remember I read my friend's mother, and she said, that was so good. She goes, you need to be doing this. And when I realized that I wasn't giving it the recognition or acknowledgement that it deserved, and I was treating it like a party trick, when in reality it was something that had this immense ability to help people connect and heal.
Yeah.
Once I realized that, I was like, oh, I really do need to explore this more.
Wow.
Because if I've been gifted with this ability to be able to connect easier, like everyone can do it. I say everyone can sing. Not everyone sounds like Pavarotti,
No.
but everyone can sing. So
Yeah.
it's like everyone can be a medium, but some people are natural and some people need work on it.
Yeah. So when you meet someone, do you get something straight away, or like you go into this space? How do you go there? What does that look like?
My on-off switch is very good. So
Okay.
I'm like David 99% of the time and David
Okay.
the Medium the other 1%.
Yeah.
And Spirit's very respectful. Like they know when I'm like working and when I'm not. But even when I meet someone for the first time, like you get a good intuitive sense about you know, whether you get a vibe them or get along with them. Like you ladies probably do when you meet people for the first time.
Yeah, totally. I'm a real like within
she is.
2 seconds. I'm just like, and I very, very rarely change my opinion of them.
And
like
you're probably
straight
very
away.
rarely ever wrong either. That's the thing.
No,
Yeah.
well, I believe I'm right all the time, but
Darren has such a strong gut. Like I would
Yeah.
say, you know, if you sat down and probably trained your brain, it wouldn't surprise me at all if you could connect with.
Well, do you remember? I had a mad story.
Yeah.
Do you remember? To make a very, very long story short, I've told this story on the podcast loads of times. I've had a few really mad things happen to me. There's one night, I didn't realise this as a child, but I used to be really nervous going to bed. And one night, I woke up in the middle of the night and there was a man sitting at the end of my bed, and I recognised him and I kind of realised he was a calming presence, and I lay back down and went to sleep, and it ended all of my anxiety. I was like 14 years of age. 1, 2, skip a few. My parents moved me into another room because they were like, I'd been going on and on about it, and then I came out with this mad story and they're like, yeah, just get her up to another room, the spare room of the house. And then I found out years later that actually my sister's godchild, or my sister's godfather, who was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He lived till her christening, and then 2 hours after the mass went up to bed for a lie down and died essentially in that room.
Wow.
But he was I remember him and he was always really, really good to us. And it wasn't until years later that I heard that that's where he had died, and I was like, oh yeah, well, it all makes sense now. Do you know, I feel like it was him there minding me. But then sometimes you'd be doubting yourself, but at the time I was so full sure of it, and I was like, lay back down again, you know.
But that's it. We always doubt it.
Yeah, you totally doubt it.
Because again, we're told that it's scary or ghostly or paranormal, when in reality it's sort of like our loved ones are still watching over us and guiding us and wanting to protect us and, you know, give us validations.
Can I ask, right, because this is something that it does scare me, right? I'm a spiritual person and I'm kind of religious as well, and I believe and I feel very hard and deeply.
Yeah,
if I
she
believe
does.
something I like, I'm all in, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would feel a feeling, or you know, if I walk in somewhere and I feel like there could be, you know, a presence in the room, I'll say, if you're good you could stay, if you're bad go away, because I don't like, because obviously black and white exists, so I'd imagine that while there are really good spirits protect us, there must be a darker side to all of this as well.
Well, that's the science logic of it. If we believe in light, there has to be dark. If there's a positive, there's a negative. I don't believe any soul by nature is negative, but obviously our human experience can make us not great people. We've all met them, and there's obviously people that do horrific things.
Yeah.
But it's all energy. So if I'm going to put my hand down on the couch now, if I lift it up under the right lighting conditions with a UV camera, you'd still see the imprint of my hand. I've left my energy behind.
Yes.
So when you're in certain places, older houses, but hospitals,
Yeah.
prisons, orphanages. Imagine the energy build up there, and it's never necessarily a positive build up in a prison. So I believe that once energy builds up, it can manifest. And I don't necessarily believe in hauntings per se. I don't believe any souls or spirits are trapped to a certain place, but I believe that energy can manifest them there again. Just like you saw a loved one at the end of the bed.
Yeah.
His energy was still manifesting him there. It wasn't a negative soul. He was looking after you. But if you go to a prison where 200 years of bad people have been in there, their energy manifests it back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really depends how deep you get into it. Do I believe in like negative entities? Yeah. Like not demons or anything, but maybe, that's the thing. I'm not going to say that they don't exist, but when I
there's
read,
light, there's dark.
well, that's it. And when I read, like, for all of us, we're in complete control of what we allow in. And I always say when I'm a medium, like I'm kind of like your inner city nightclub that has a strong guest list and dress code. Whereas maybe your Ouija boards or other things are a bit more like your suburban pub. Like,
you're high end.
I like to think so.
So like, is it right on a very basic level? This is how I imagine, maybe my little cartoon brain, that you would walk into a room and you'd scan the room. So you'd see myself there in an Ivan, right? And you'd say, oh, there's a ghost tapping over her right shoulder now. That's her grandfather. Oh, there's the fella looking over his around the corner there. That's his. Like, are you seeing someone?
No, fortunately not. So not because my boundaries are so strong, I sort of label it like a DJ board or those old car radios. Like you tune the knob,
cool, right.
And it's kind of like it's all energy and frequency. So you've got to imagine if I want to connect to a spirit, then I've got to raise the energy. So I kind of train my brain to just do it, and it's something that I've learned over, obviously being able to do it for 15 years, that it's just come so natural to me now.
So how'd you do that? How'd you learn it?
Because I never wanted to be interrupted by spirit if I'm walking down the street.
Yeah.
So I just kind of and I'm always the one in control. We're always the ones in control of what we feel, sense, and feel and see. Pardon me. So I just very early on had strong boundaries. Yeah. And it's kind of like a force field around you where nothing sticks.
You must be very good mental. Like I feel like your mental health has got to be good and robust, and you have to be in a good place to be able to have that, boundary and put that wall up for yourself. I would assume looking after yourself is a big.
And that's where it came down to. Like it just comes down to like what's more important. I need to look after me, and obviously then also protecting my energy helps me be the best medium for those that I read. But I think you would go very kind of crazy if you had to connect with spirits 24/7 at the same time, because we should never forget that regardless of our beliefs or our spiritual understandings, we're still human. That's the main mission and the main goal and the main lesson of why we're all here, and that's the exciting part of all anyway.
You have huge massive crowds come to your shows all over the world at this stage. Do you feel pressure to go out there and to perform? Are you ever afraid that tonight's it's not going to come? Like that you must be breaking yourself for that.
Oh God, it's I've been doing readings for like 10 to 15 years. Every single reading I do, and it's that human doubt that we all have. Right before, even if it's a one-on-one or a show for 1,000 people, I'm like, they're going to hate it. No one's going to connect. Spirit's not going to come forward. But the funny thing was, and it's always hard when you've got a bigger audience in this sense, but I did some shows in England, and you've got a crowd of, like, for example, we were in Birmingham and there was 900 people.
Yeah.
And I think people, they're so keen to connect, but they also don't want to interrupt it, just in case the reading's not for them. So I'm saying something that's so specific. And no one's claiming it. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And then you got 900 eyes, or not even 900 eyes, 1,800 eyes all staring at you with 900 people. And I'm like, and eventually they're like, oh, I think that's for me. And I'm like, I think it might be as well, because you're literally connecting with everything. But they just want to be, So it's always that fear. But, fortunately, it always happens, and that it's a good lesson of trust, and just I have to trust in what I do, and I trust that Spirit's going to come forward, and they're wanting to connect, and everyone in the crowd's obviously wanting to connect. But so far, fortunately, even though there's been awkward silences, everyone's eventually claimed it.
But I feel like what you do is very healing. When I watch your videos online, oh geez, I'd be crying sometimes. You can feel that people take a lot from that. That's a huge weight to carry as well, because you're bringing something to someone that's they're going to hold on to for the rest of their life.
Yeah, that's why I never I never take it for granted, that's for sure, because it really is incredibly special and healing, and I get to be a part of that. It's cool. And especially the show last night, it was very emotional.
Well, I wanted to ask about that, because so you've done your show, you've carried it to different countries, right?
Yeah.
Are there little cultural quirks, right, in the different countries, that you find spirits from different, you'll have to take another supper rose. Do you know, are the Irish,
for you, don't worry, Louise.
Thanks for
I'll give you a drop.
Are the Irish spirits and souls tormented?
More the English, really. No.
Oh, really?
Well, or is there
The
a
dirty
common
colonizer.
thread? Yeah. You know, that is a goblet of
Oh, sorry.
rosé.
Well, I'll finish the ends of it for you.
Well, I'm 68% English according to the DNA, so I can say it, guys.
Yeah.
You know, I'm English anyway. I knew coming to Ireland it would be so much fun.
Did you?
God.
Because I was like, if the Irish spirits, they're going to be the same as the Irish humans.
Are they all drunk?
Well, they were having fun, put it that way.
Yay!
We actually did have
I'm
someone who died of
hoping-
alcohol poisoning, so yes.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Cirrhosis of the liver, I think. Well, as soon as I said that, my liver actually triggered. I don't know whether anyone has any of that within the family, but
Oh, I do.
grandfather?
Yeah.
Yeah, older man.
God, yes,
We
they're
haven't
all-
even-
That's how he died, yeah.
No, there we go.
That's
Quite
gas.
young as well.
Yeah, he died very young, 40 years of age.
Oh, so you probably never met him,
I
obviously.
never met him. My
that's
mom
how-
was 7. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're on the ball.
Well, there we
He's
go.
a very famous composer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he like toured all over American, Canada and the UK and Ireland, and he's
How
like
cool.
very well known around Ireland for his compositional work. And you're right on the ball there now.
Well, it's interesting because it's when you said, you know, you're doing shows.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there was kind of, I mean, as soon as we said that, there was male energy sort of floating around. But it's
Yeah.
probably him once we, like, you're doing multiple shows, but yeah.
I knew he was going to come up today when I was talking to you, because he was like he was a shamanic character himself.
Really?
And I've had wild situations with him, and I was like cycling out here on the bike, and I was like, yeah, wait now, I bet you he'll be here.
Yeah. And this is the perfect example, Darren, because it doesn't matter for any of us that have loved ones in spirit that we never even met. Doesn't mean that they're not watching over us. Or,
Yeah.
you know, he may not have got the opportunity to hold you earthside, but he's still your grandfather.
Yeah, totally.
It's still the energetic connection in the soul family.
Yeah,
which
he
is-
reminds me a lot.
Yeah, that's
Gael.
cool.
And I'd say a man that would, no wonder he twitched when she filled up the drinks. That'd be right up his street.
Well, he died of cirrhosis of the liver, so it would be, yeah.
Maybe that was him saying cheers. Could have
Yeah.
been.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
How
do you
cool.
know, very early on in our friendship, okay, we had 2 crossovers actually that had to do with your granddad. One was that she'd made an incredible documentary, which she has about her granddad. And before we were good friends, and I knew her very well, I watched it on television like the night before I got engaged. What are the odds? And I just text her. And then years later, after a friend of ours, the third of this podcast, she's not here because she's on maternity leave, the day after her wedding, I actually dreamt about her grandfather
yeah,
and
you'd a mad
that he
vivid
was
dream,
in
yeah.
the place that I grew up in, which is
Wow.
so it's you know, maybe dreams are a whole other thing as well.
Well, that's again a great thing to mention because when I read, my brain waves go into the same level as REM or light sleeping.
Yeah,
But I'm obviously
interesting.
consciously awake and talking.
Yeah.
So for everyone that has dreams of their loved ones, because I think we've all had them at some stage where you are hugging them, you're talking to them, and it feels real.
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
everyone, you know, if you're listening to this, that is real.
Yeah.
Because it's exactly the same as me when I'm connecting with spirit, but I'm just awake when I'm doing it.
Okay.
Because the human mind is so chaotic and there's so many thoughts and, you know, life is chaotic. But when
Yeah.
we're asleep, we're peaceful. And our energy just
I suppose
flows. So
I
that
know.
allows them to come in even easier.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
You said that you have you can predict things in the future. What is that? A similar wavelength that you go into? Is it just a gut feeling that you get? Or?
Yeah, gut feeling, but it's also funnily when I dream. So I haven't done
Okay.
it as much since COVID. 'Cause I
Okay.
think that left me with PTSD, being from my hometown.
Oh, yeah.
But
Jesus.
I also, when I drive,
yeah.
everyone who's from Melbourne that may be listening to this, don't worry, I'm still paying attention when I'm on the roads. But I
Okay,
kind of
yeah,
go
yeah,
into
yeah.
like a trance.
Yeah, of course.
So-
Autopilot, like, yeah.
Yeah, so my sort of profile in Australia grew quite rapidly because I was talking about COVID about 6 months before it happened.
Yeah.
At the end of 2023, I said that Joe Biden will drop out, Kamala Harris will replace him, Donald Trump will have 2 assassination attempts but go on to win.
All right.
And I was on TV saying that. Yeah, well, that's...
Did you?
Oh my
So I was
gosh.
on, I was on national TV or Sky News in Australia right after Donald Trump's first assassination attempt. I was like, there's about to be another, but Kamala Harris is going to tank and he'll win. And everyone's like, what? Because she was so popular there. Yeah, so...
You dreamt that, did you? Or you premonition?
Yeah, I just knew. Like, it's kind of like someone's already told me.
Told
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
So if we are trying to be, obviously we are, I think we're both intuitive women, but
Yeah.
if we're trying to be like more aware of spirits communicating with us, are there signs we should look out for? Like, is it a prickle in the back of the neck or
Yeah,
a
that's
whisper
fine.
in the ear, or, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting that already, you're there
Oh,
already. So that's
really?
about-
Okay.
Yeah.
And how should you deal with that? Like, is it, do you lean
Yeah.
in?
Yeah, well, it's like a muscle. The more that you train it, the stronger it will get. So even with our gut feeling or intuition, we all feel it. We all have things that pop up. We're all driving and we feel the need to change lanes and we don't, and we get stuck in a traffic jam. But the more that you pay attention to it, the more that you acknowledge it, the stronger it will get. So every time you feel something or sense something, be like, hey, I feel you, I sense you, I can, I know what's happening. Like they will be like, cool, she gets it. So even sometimes, even as especially females in groups together, you'll feel something that you intuitively need to say. Someone, I've got the rosé burps.
Oh, go on, get the rosé burps.
That's not spirit trying to communicate. That's
what we do. Ceistúáil an bhur.
Okay, Ceistúáil an bhur.
Taithí beidir how to Gael. Ceistir Sean. Diana.
Oh.
I'd say he'd give us a bit of correlate.
Sorry, she's talking to me there about for the future of our podcast, and because we have such a weird affiliation with my grandfather, Louise has had mad vivid dreams about him, which is actually bizarre. Imagine saying to your friend, so I've had these mad dreams about your grandfather. He's appeared to me several times.
Natural to me.
Yeah, natural. Yeah. Has he any advice to us for the future of what we're at on our careers or the podcast?
Don't play it small, which I think is great advice for anyone.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, I mean, you're not already, because even as you mentioned, you've been doing live shows and that.
Yeah.
There's a really strong opportunity to do like radio though. So I don't know, have you ever done radio before?
I work in radio every day.
Oh, Jesus, we have to get her talking about the radio. She
Yeah.
never shut up, David. Jesus Christ.
So there's a very big podcast in Australia. I don't know if you know them, and they're called Life Uncut. It's by two Aussie, Brittany Hockley and Laura Byrne. But yeah, they now have a really big radio segment in Australia.
Okay.
So there's a real opportunity of expansion or things. Do you guys do like not like t-shirts or merchandise, but have you ever moved into fashion?
Oh Jesus,
Are you talking about that?
Yeah,
No, we
no,
did.
this is a pity. We did this collab on. You know, you've seen Aaron knits, haven't you?
Aaron knit jumpers.
Aaron
I
knit
haven't, no,
jumpers.
sorry.
Oh, we'll have to show you some pictures. This is like the traditional.
I
We
need
did
to
a
wear
big
one.
fashion collab last year.
Yeah, it's a pity now because it's the hottest day of the year. Otherwise, we're fucking wearing them all the
yes,
time.
yes.
But we did it, and they like flew off the shelves. It was insane. Like we couldn't keep up with the demand for them. It was really great. But it's like a beautiful traditional Irish knit. I'll show you after.
I love
the
that.
interview, yeah.
So because Spirit will use my brain like a library on certain
Yeah.
things. It's all images and translations. And again, there's another Aussie podcast. I'm just shouting out all the big Aussie podcasts.
Yeah, go
but
on,
it's
Australia.
The Happy Hour with Lucy and Nikki. Hi, Lucy and Nikki, because I love them. They're such cool girls. But they've got their own fashion label.
Oh wow.
I can't remember what it's called, but that's okay. They're not paying me to shout it out anyway. It's
Okay,
fine.
yeah.
So are the spirits telling us?
Well, that's it. So it's the element of
Leaning.
like how it's like capitalize on your success or growth.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, I mean, it's such an easy answer for me because, again, we hold up a mirror, which is the element of self-reflection. So it's easy for me to say because then I throw it back onto you being like, okay, where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Because nothing's off limits. It's really
Yeah,
not. There's
totally,
no roadblock there. The only roadblocks for any of us, the four of us in the room, is what we think are our limits.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I'm proof of that because like I was the guy who's working in law and now I'm doing this. So
Look,
it's
amazing.
so like use it as visual, verbal manifestation. What do you want? Say it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do it now, of course, but like there's nothing that's blocking, which I like.
Oh my God, what a revel! I knew I followed you on Instagram for a really long time, and I was really
Thank you.
excited to meet you. But you just mad, exceeded all expectations.
thank
You have
you
such
so
a
much.
gift, and
Yeah.
Thank you.
it's so special to see what you do in real life, and just
Thank you.
to give us all some hope, and it's really beautiful.
It's very kind of you to say. And I'll be back in Ireland next year, so I'd love to have you
Yes,
at my show.
please.
100%.
Oh my God, we'll be there. We'll be there. And how
Yeah.
do people get more information about you, and where can they follow you and all this?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at David The Medium.
Lovely.
My website is davidthemedium.com, and that's where sort of all private readings will be released. I'll be back to doing them later in the year. And
Gorgeous.
but all tour information, daily updates, and sort of psychic predictions is all predominantly on Instagram. So yeah,
Amazing.
David The Medium. And I think that's it. And tour information, this isn't a bit of an exclusive because
Oh, go on. Yes, exclusive
Please.
for
We're
us.
definitely coming back to Ireland next year. When I say we, I mean Spirit and I.
Yeah.
It's only me. There's
Amazing.
no. So I'll be proudly collaborating with Live Nation again. I was the very first psychic medium to ever do a show with Live Nation as
Amazing.
well. which
Wow,
I
go
thought was
on, flex.
I know. I was like, I usually don't boast, but I was like, I'm really
You can
just
both
proud of
together.
that.
Yeah.
Flex.
So yeah, we're looking. This tour was obviously very quick this time around, and it was a bit sort of last minute. So we are only able to announce a Dublin show, but yeah, next year I definitely want to expand it into other places in Ireland.
Go
Amazing.
on.
Visit
Well,
Visit a bit of Cork or a bit of Galway, definitely. up
beautiful.
north, yeah.
Oh, we have to get you. Well, if you come back, when you come back in to see us again
I would
next
be
year.
honoured.
Do you know
Most
where we'll
welcoming
bring you,
people.
David? We'll bring you to a pagan rave. You'd
love
love it.
That sounds so good.
You'd love it.
We got that on camera. I'll be at a pagan rave in
Yeah.
2027.
Amazing.
Yes, girls and gays. David, Carmela Maga, David the
You're a
Medium.
legend.
Thank you so much. Thank you to both of you.
Okay, episode anna ada an tatan seo cháda so táid chun críochnú suas in ish bear bua agus scarín tatan chuing. Slán.
Slán.